As far back as I can remember, I dreamt of a normal life. A life filled with normal things. A life where monsters don't live in closets or under the bed. A life where ghosts aren't real. I just wanted to be normal. But that didn't happen. It wasn't meant to be. Since my early 20s, I have experienced profound paranormal events that would change my life. Extreme poltergeist activity, living amongst those that have departed this earth in ways unimaginable. It has affected my loved ones and children with no end in sight. I could hear things, see things, and feel things not of this world. I asked myself if this was a gift or a curse. With the help of my mother and close friends, I emerged a paranormal investigator. Since 2013, I have been on a relentless journey to learn about the paranormal. This is my time to share my journey with you. Welcome to my Paranormal Soapbox. Hello and welcome to my Paranormal Soapbox. I'm your friendly neighborhood ghost hunter, Justin Brown, and I am presenting to you episode 49. By popular vote of the patrons, we are going to talk about and compare, I guess, if I'm understanding this right, residual hauntings and historical hauntings, i.e., historical locations, landmarks, things that are known haunts, but, have some historical significance. And I guess residents can fall into some of those categories. I know some people live at residences or live in historical locations, so there is a gray area in between this. But we're going to, I was asked to discuss this, so I'll be talking about differences, similarities, everything that I think about that, and I would like to hear from you. Everything that you think. If you would like to be shouted out during a live stream, please don't be shy. Just type hi in the comments, start chatting. We have the girls, Jess and Missy, here. They'll shout you out. And if you have any questions or comments about what we're talking about, we will get to them here in a moment, and we will interact and engage. Please keep it classy. Please keep it clean. Please share this live stream with your other para friends and with your family. See if you can get them interested in the stuff we talk about on the show. But before we get into it, how's the girls been? Are you girls ready to do this? How's your days been going?
I'm ready. I'm tired, but I'm ready.
Why are you tired? No sleep?
No sleep.
Okay.
Psychic dreamer's life.
Okay. Let's get that second wind. How was Emma's softball practice, Jess?
It was nice. It was very warm, but it was very nice.
And then she got her gloves stolen and everything's bad.
Technically, we don't know if it was stolen, but yeah, I have a 13-year-old girl that's having a meltdown because she can't find her glove. And she's never lost anything, so we're just unsure of what happened.
Well, it was special to her because Grandpa gave it to her.
Yes. So if Mom would have bought it, she wouldn't care, but that she lost it or was stolen or somebody picked it up accidentally, but Grandpa did, so.
I understand. Well, hopefully you guys find that.
Yes, me too.
All right.
I hope. Thank you.
All right. Well, if you guys don't know the drill, like I said, if you want to have a shout out, have us address you on the live stream, please comment. If you have a specific question for me, we'll get to that momentarily. Please be patient. And thank you again for joining the show. So if you didn't know, our patrons on Patreon get to vote for our topics and just submit topics for me to talk about, which is something I like to do a lot. Those who support the show financially, as much as they can to keep what we do going. The stuff we don't do is free. It's very time consuming. And we appreciate them. So we get to talk about what they want us to talk about. And tonight we're going to talk about residential hauntings versus historical hauntings. So I've been to a fair share of residences and have lived in a residence myself that's had strange things happen that you could classify paranormal. Um, Nobody knows if ghosts really exist. Their best guess is that they do, based on their assumptions, their educated guesses on the phenomena they experience. And I tell you what, if you see apparitions, especially if they're full blown, appear right before you, yeah, you probably have a ghost. So there you are, no longer deciding whether it's real or not. Some people are on the fence. There's things that go bump in the night. They have strange feelings. Things might fly around, move on their own, maybe even disappear. There's all different types of hauntings. And I guess we could talk about some of those. We've talked about it on the show before. We have poltergeist. If you look at it at a parapsychological point of view, there's a lot of psychokinetic phenomena where the living people in the area at that time, or even once were, emanating psychokinetic energy. Let's just call it energy. We can call it whatever you want. If you want to argue what we call it, that's fine. We can do that. But stuff comes out and stuff happens, and it's weird. Residential hauntings are probably the prime candidate for psychokinetic phenomena. The poltergeist, the things that move, the things that are noisy. They seem like they're the most common thing for residential hauntings. And a lot of times, psychokinetic phenomena is misclassified, according to me, as being demonic entities, as being some type of, I don't know, entity, whether it be a person or not, that was deceased. Most of the time it's psychokinetic. And the reason why I think that is because where there's people, where there's things happening, where you're feeling the most things, dealing with the most stuff, it always seems to be behind closed doors most of the time in general. So you put on this facade every day, you go out in public, you act like everything's okay. And when you go home, things get real. Things go back to the way they are. Sometimes they get stored up. Sometimes they get sideways. Sometimes things just start stacking, compiling, and causing some strange phenomena to happen. I recently gave an analogy to Jessica's daughter about why and how we can cause things to move on their own. And the analogy I use is one of the things that cause something to spontaneously move or change, shift, can be described like this. If you take a spring, okay, and you smash it together and apply attention to it, over time, the tension's going to grow so strong that it can no longer, whatever's smashing it together can no longer hold. And when that spring pops out, weird stuff happens. And that is not exactly what happens when no one knows what happens, really, but it just seems like there's these random moments, seemingly random moments, that cause this type of poltergeist activity. Now, this excludes shadow people. It can exclude shadow people. It can exclude some manifestations, but PK can also cause physical and visual manifestations, and we'll talk about that if you want in detail. But you can see light anomalies caused by PK. It's been reported and believed to be caused by PK. You can see intelligent entities being formed all the time. There's a lot of psychics and mediums out there. One that a lot of people know because she's on TV, Amy Allen, talks about how psychokinetic phenomena can cause intelligent entities all the time on that show, Dead Files. And from what I've seen from Amy and the things she says on the show, a lot of it's very accurate. But of course, it being a show, they do dramatize things to a certain degree to appear a certain way on television. Of course, you can make anything appear a little bit more dramatic on TV, and they should, because it's for entertainment purposes. Like on this show, I kind of make things seem a little bit more downplayed because I'm not really entertaining you per se. I'm just trying to give you my thoughts, educate you on things that I believe that occur and things that I, have experienced and learned in my paranormal journey. So it's not as hyped up, not as dramatized. So, but with that being said, there are cases where there are entities involved in residential cases. It could deal with the house itself, the people that used to live there, or transient spirits that have come in from the outside into the home, which is even probably just as common as, the spirits who like to dwell in the home. And there's also people who've lived in a home, moved away from it, and then when they passed, they went back to the home. And that happens often as well. And what is interesting about all these things is there always seems to be some type of agent or catalyst for the phenomena. If you leave a house abandoned, it used to be a residential place, but now it becomes an empty shell. The phenomenon that may occur in there, I believe, goes dormant until someone comes in and provides that living catalyst, that agent, that psyche or consciousness to interact with these things in the environment. Okay, but that's not true all the time. I'm thinking most cases there are people who see entities that cross an abandoned residences, like in the windows and stuff like that. They see other type of phenomena like the lights coming on by themselves, and when there's nobody there living in the residence, they see things that would signify or indicate that there were when there shouldn't be. So I would like to see some investigation of a haunted location without going in to see if they can find some things outside. But us investigators, we're always trained to go in, right? So maybe that's something we should do more of. Maybe we should think about that. But we could shift gears and go and talk about historical locations. So probably the most widely believed cause behind the paranormal phenomena historical locations, it has to be what a lot of people call stone tape theory or residual haunts, where the environment stores events from the past, even elements of events like psychokinetic imprints can even be considered residual at times. People can feel the feelings that people felt in certain, high stress situations or traumatic events. People might see a ghost walk down the hallway but not have any interaction with the people observing it. Footsteps are really common in historical places, and you get a lot of residual effects. But with that being said, a lot of times historical places will have investigators come in, or they'll have tour people come in. They'll have tour guides constantly telling the stories and the legends and talk about the people that allegedly haunt the place. And these energies can get pulled in from people's psyches, and then you'll have PK activity as well. And what's even interesting more so is when you have urban legends, nothing happened at the location, but the consensus of the area, the culture of the area believes that there is something going on. There's people going to those locations, fueling them, and manifesting the phenomena themselves again. So a lot of it, I do believe that it's caused by some type of living agent. But these historical locations are made out of materials that well suit stone tape theory. You got limestone, you got wood trim, really thick walls. They're made out of, a lot of them are made out of brick, a lot of them are made out, or that old plaster stuff. It's just sturdy, strong, and not as synthetic as the materials used to build houses and buildings nowadays. So, in my opinion, it's very possible, if the stone tape theory is true and residual haunts are a thing, these places can store and hold that energy and then spontaneously emerge this phenomena that people observe and report. So all that is interesting. But I think that the same phenomena that can happen at a residential place can happen anywhere else, a historical building. But there's the main difference I see is when mobs of people tour a place, investigate a place, they're adding in lots of different elements to that location versus a residential home that does not get subjected to all that stuff. You got groups going into these historical places, opening up things, inviting things in, causing a lot of different extra things to go on. You got psychics going in there, juicing the place up. It's just a smorgasbord of paranormal shenanigans happening at these locations. And sometimes it can get pretty ugly, get out of hand. These historical places can turn into zoo-like, places where the resident entities there don't want anything to do with the living or anything to do with the interaction that we would have with them otherwise, and they'll just turn away. And a historical place that was once active will become inactive. And that is another element that would be considered different from a residential haunt. But these are all just thoughts and ideas. My opinion is there is a lot of there's probably more similarities than there are differences, but like I said, the main difference would be, no one's coming to my house like they are Waverly Hills Sanatorium or Ohio State Reformatory or Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, or you could just name hundreds of places that people just flock to every weekend for a tour. So that has to do something different. There has to be some type of different role that, those things play. So we'll go over to the girls. We'll do some shout outs, address any questions if there are any, and we'll continue with the show.
I guess I'm going first. I have Becky Compton. I have Derek Schreiner. I have Valerie Wright. I have Bill Davis. I have Richard Myers. I have Christy Brown, Josh Bender, Nelson. I had for a minute. Sandy Griffith, Melissa Grubbs, and Matthew Jackson, and Daniel Everson just jumped on.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Nelson couldn't stay long. He is on toddler duty tonight.
Oh, boy. He's going to have some poltergeist. Any questions or interesting comments from Facebook?
None so far. We're just talking amongst ourselves.
Okay.
All right. On YouTube, I have Val, Glenda, Heath Edwards, Joe, Sam Thomas, and John Cool. Sam had a question. Do you believe that a lot of people in and out doing investigations makes it crazy? And is it not good for that?
At a residential, like at someone's home, or at a historical location, or both, or any?
She didn't specify, so I don't know. I don't know what she's...
Okay, well, I'll kind of address both. At a, in and out for residential is not good. Mainly, something that I know for a fact is not good is, let's just say you have a family that's being disturbed. They're dealing with the fear of the unknown, and they're dealing with the phenomena itself. If you have priests come in there, shamans come in there, paranormal investigators come in there, multiple ones, it's at this point, it's become a shit show. Okay? You don't want to turn your home, whether you're keeping your children or impressionable, people that could be terrified or overwhelmed by all these people coming in. If you're not keeping them away, they're going to be affected first. If you're having a hard time sleeping now, it's going to be even worse once, you have all these people. Oh, you have a ghost. Oh, you have a demon. Oh, it's your own brain doing all this. Your guys are crazy. It's your medication. You need to seek prayer. You need to, stop doing this. You got all these people telling you different things. So that in itself is bad. So the other aspect of it is, how's it affecting the phenomena? Well, it could if it's something that's not nice, and it's meaning harm, and it's trying to disturb you, or worse, what it will do is lay dormant until everyone leaves. and then it'll attack again. Then it'll start up again. Okay? 9 times out of 10, that is what will happen, unless the people there do something or know how to do something about it, and then cleanse and vanquish or get it out. So if it's something other than that, then you could, one or two things could happen, something positive, something negative. You may do good for what's there. You may get a message that was trying to be communicated, or you can piss off a spirit or an entity, or you can add to a psychokinetic situation. And that could have good or bad effects. So there's some maybes and some variance in there to answer that question. Now, historical places that can have similar effects as I just said and stated, but what I see is you have a zoo effect. If anybody's been to a zoo and one that's, visited every day, there's a lot of animals in there that will just sit there. They'll hide and won't let you see them, or they will turn away from the display glass or cage where people sit and not look at you. And that's what happens a lot in haunted locations. Now, that's an analogy. I don't know if that's what actually is happening. What really is probably happening is whatever juice or whatever fuel is needed for the phenomenon to happen is not going to happen. It's not going to do what you wanted to do day in and day out. Okay. So if there's some kind of emergent phenomena, whether it be residual or not, it's paranormal. It's not normal. If it happened every day for everyone, every time they went in there, it would become a normal thing. But that's just not what happens. A lot of groups in there, they'll go in there, they'll turn the recorders on, they'll turn their apps on, they'll turn their ghost boxes on, and they'll make the place haunted enough for them to say, yeah, I got something. But genuine hauntings, genuine phenomena does not happen like that. It manifests somehow without needing a device and makes its presence known somehow with just the normal senses of the people that are there, living there or being in there. So it can have positive and negative effects.
Edward Kinsley asked, I don't know if it was for you or myself. I was wondering how your daughter's softball team is doing.
Well, you can go ahead and answer.
It's a learning for most of the team. We haven't won any games. We only have a few games left, but we have a very young team that hasn't really had any experience.
Yeah, it can make it a little rough at that stage of the game.
Yeah, we have probably about 5 girls, I would say, that has played since, Little League, and my daughter's one of them. So, go ahead and answer the softball question, and I have another one.
Okay. A1 season went pretty good. I think they ended up like 6-2, 8-2, or 7-3, or something like that. I think they lost 3 and won the rest. There were some people that backed out of the tournament at the end, and we got bracketed with a really good team. We didn't play and we didn't prepare or practice beforehand. We got just slaughtered. And it rained out the silver bracket, the loser bracket, and we didn't get to finish. But my daughter did get called up to the 8th grade team. She's a 7th grade team, but her and a couple other of the better players got called up to the 8th grade tournament team, and they won yesterday. They did really good. So both teams are doing very good. A1 does the rec league all summer long, and then she'll do fall. She's a dedicated softball player. But thanks for asking.
Heath Edward asks, so do you think the zoo effect happens to volunteers at locations, that they see us and say, oh, it's you?
It's possible. Like, if you go to historical locations, you'll notice something right off. If the people who manage the location, that are constantly giving the tours, that are part of, either the tour company or the management of the building, you will know right away if they have a good either reputation or relationship with the haunt. If some are all about the history. They want to tell the history. They love the history. It's ever encompassing when it comes to their life. It's if you go look at them on Facebook, they're constantly just talking about the location, promoting it. Maybe they dress up in the garb. Maybe they play the role, the nostalgic role of the location. And then there's others that are just like the scare factor or just the thrill factor, or like, this place, it's super haunted and this is why, but at the end of the day, I have no emotional connection to the place or the spirits the same way that some of the others do. So whether they come alive or become more active with the people who are there all the time, I don't know, because I've never managed a location like that. So I can't answer that for them.
Okay, I have one more question, and then I'm sure Missy has questions. Okay.
I have questions.
You want me to wait, or you want me to read it off?
Go ahead if you got one more.
Okay. Yeah. Sam wants to know, how do you handle a spirit that says, wait for you to be alone, even if cleansed?
If you have a spirit bothering you after you've tried to ward it away, there's some concern there. And I don't know if you're speaking from personal experience this is happening to, or if it's a hypothetical, but if there's something bothering you and it's waiting for you to be alone, you need to seek better metaphysical assistance. I have never been in a situation where my metaphysical assistance to somebody else has not worked. And sometimes it could be due to you specifically not following the instruction of the people dealing with your situation. You could be being clean, but jumping right back into the muddy water again and causing the thing to come back again, and not helping yourself out and not heeding the warnings and the protocol that was given to you to keep that stuff at bay. Or what they were doing to help you just wasn't working, or just not what was needed. So I would need to know a heck of a lot more information to answer that any better than that.
Okay. Jamie wanted to know, do you tend to investigate different when it's a public or a historic location?
Yeah, well, I try not to, but it's different because I don't do a lot of publics now, but when I did, they want you to investigate how they see people investigate on TV. And if you don't do that, they feel like they didn't get their money's worth. So you entertain what they want you to do to a certain degree. You don't just flat out lie to them. I will tell them, if I think a spirit box is not talking to the dead, I'll tell them that, but I'll let them run it if they still want to run it. A lot of times I give talks and lectures to the groups that I do public events to let them know what I think, what I believe, and how I do things, whether it be a short condensed version or a very in-depth long-winded version. But you tend to do different things depending on the situation. You might let a group do what they want, how they want, and just kind of referee, make sure they don't do stupid things or disrespect the location or the entities there that could be there. Or sometimes you have to lead them by hand through the whole thing. And it is something that I really don't like doing anymore. I have people starting to ask me more and more, can you do a public ghost hunt? And I'm like, no, I'd rather have a class, if I'm going to do that, show you how I think you should do it. Then you add your own little flares to it and go do it on your own. I think that would be the best way to do it. But then again, people just want to go have a thrill on the weekend, or they just are curious about going to the super cool location they've dreamed about going to. And I get that. I used to be that person, but it was very short-lived.
Okay, and Steve White wants to know, can you get a false reply from using a spirit box?
Absolutely. 99.9% of everything that comes out of them are not ghosts, are not spirits. It would be a rare occurrence if it did, and if it did, you wouldn't know how to be sure. It picks up radio, and you're trying to decipher the messages as spirit responses. If you were a skeptic and you turned on a spirit box, you wouldn't believe anything coming out of it. You would be like, oh, I just hear radio. And, people try to do things. They'll be like, what's your name? They'll get a name, and they'll believe it's a ghost. People say people's names on the radio. People will ask for a color. They'll ask for specific things. They will ignore the 100 times they didn't get a correct answer and only pay attention to the 101 times they got something, and they'll be like, aha, the ghost talked to me through this radio. And that comes from somebody that has researched and used a spirit box for 6 years. Just what we do now is we turn the thing on, let white noise play, and try to get something to come through the white noise, either through the box itself or on another recording device, to see if the noise can somehow be a medium in which spirits can use to communicate through modulation or other means.
Candace asked, what if the box is clipped? No radio.
The only way to do it properly, where RF can't get through, is a Faraday cage that is grounded. If you take a spirit box to a location, if you put it in a Faraday pouch, it still can get radio if it's strong enough. So, I will only entertain the use of it if you want to eliminate the RF, do not use it to where RF can come through. Quit sweeping. There is no legitimate theory that says sweeping will cause the spirit box to work better. If you want to eliminate radio, just tune to a station that has no radio coming through it. You can rip out the antenna and still get RF if it's strong enough. The internal circuitry will receive. As long as that receiver is intact, it still will receive. So I don't understand. Like a lot of people, they think sweeping, the only reason you sweep is to make it to where it's just garbled bits, radio bits. And pareidolia will take over if you get a good stream of radio bits coming through. So if you want to remove the RF, just tune into a station that has no broadcast happening and use it. That would be my suggestion.
And that's all I have for right now.
John Cole said Ghostbox is one of the most misused devices out there next to the K2 meter.
Right. Yeah, it is. And the reason it is because the same reason we were all misled by TV shows. And even before the TV shows was using them, Assumption had, ghost boxes. He believed that he was talking to aliens. He didn't always believe he was talking to spirits. He thought he was having some kind of extraterrestrial, interdimensional conversation. And he's not, the smartest, brightest people can be fooled by these things. Nikola Tesla, when he first developed and started using the crystal radio, he heard this incoherent but seemingly linguistic sounding noises coming from a radio. There was no broadcast stations out there, but he heard something that sounded like speech. Later on, they discovered that distant thunderstorms were the cause of these speech-like things coming through that. And the smartest, brightest people can be wrong. So I was once, fooled by a lot of stuff that's coming through a ghost box. There's only been one thing I've been able to capture just using white noise. Well, a few things. actually. It's really rare. It happens maybe once a year, if that. It hasn't happened in a long time, actually, because I don't do the research quite as much anymore. It's better just to do EVP. But let me give you guys some advice. If you think an entity can manipulate either radio frequencies or the device itself, wait for proof of that. An entity, if they can turn on and off the lights or mess with your computer or mess with your devices, if you see it being interfered with, turn on and off, this happens. It's rare, but it happens. When you see that stuff happening, that's when that stuff happens. You can start, the entity there can start figuring out ways to do things to device. But if nothing's happening to any of the electrical circuits or gadgets that you're using, there's no way to believe that it's just doing anything with the devices. You're better off just using your senses at that point.
I have a question.
Okay.
Nadine wanted to know why use equipment, trust your own energy to interact with the spirit world.
The reason I use equipment is because I'm trying to study it and understand it further. I know, to me in my heart, it exists. When I'm experiencing it, I could believe that it is happening, but I want to document it so I can study certain aspects of it. Visually, on a video camera, I want to capture the sound energy coming from the environment when it's happening, and I want to measure other things too, like is there any type of anomalous readings in the magnetic field, or barometric pressure, humidity, vibration, all these things I want to know. Heat, temperature, everything. I believe if doing that, I can understand it more, and then maybe my investigation of this phenomena would get better. And then I can educate and report back to the community on what I found. That's why I do it.
Okay, Melissa Grubbs asked, so do you catch EVPs or no? What equipment do you use?
Yes, we do on occasion. We use a Zoom H6 recorder with certain types of microphones. We use wireless microphones, like when we're doing interviews and, walkthroughs, and even while we investigate too. Sometimes we use wired lavalier microphones and recorders. We use high-end recorders. Let me find a picture for you guys. I'll throw it up again. If you're interested in any of the gear we use, you can go to www.interfacedeath.net. The link to our website is in the video description. And we have a whole page dedicated to the gear we use. And after the show, you can definitely... I even have links to the specs of every piece of equipment, and we, pretty much describe everything about the equipment on the page itself. So that should be answer any questions that you would have about the equipment. Now let me scroll down and find you a photo. We have an actual EVP data setup that we use. It's called an RVVR Mark III, and we kind of put our own little twist to it. So RVPR, here we go. So I'll blow up the Mark III. I'll turn on the left monitor here. Oh, it's kind of blurry. Just let it load, I guess. I don't know why it's blurry. Let me go to the next picture here. That's not blurry. That's blurry. Oh, there we go. Maybe it needed a chance to load. Well, the Mark III looks blurry for some reason. What the heck? Okay, it don't look blurry there. Okay, there we go. My lord. All right. Right, the Mark III right there. This is a recorder I had Derek build. He had an EVP mic that Digital Dowsing made, and all it does is it receives and detects electromagnetic energy from the environment and allows you to run it into this little Zoom H4 Pro. And we run a shotgun mic out of it to record the acoustic energy, and then also behind this little fuzzy wind filter, it has a XY stereo condenser mic set up on it. So what we're trying to achieve here is to see if there's any correlation between electromagnetic frequencies or fields with EVP. Okay, so if that's true, we would get an EVP on this little thing here on a separate track, along with the acoustic data that it may or may not create. So, and we're also trying to isolate the voices on just one of the mics and not all of them. If you're getting it on all the mics, that most likely means that whatever is occurring is acoustic energy. It's actually in the environment, something that's occurring acoustically. So a lot of EVPs are misidentified in my experience. A lot of people will even hear something happen and capture on a recorder and say it's an EVP, when in fact it's actual disembodied voice. It's a phenomenon that's completely different. So you can learn more about it on our website.
I have a question, and I see that there's questions on Facebook, so I'll just read mine rather quickly. Okay. Edward says, I'm just curious if you ever had a spirit talk to you, and what was the coolest moment?
One time I heard it actually try to talk to me when I was in my early 20s, and I was in the home I grew up in from 92 to like 98, and it sounded garbled and weird and something not clear at all and not normal at all, and I ran away like a scaredy cat when it happened. I was not ready, and I was not an investigator, and that kind of stuff was scary to me at that time. So it was gnarly. It rushed me. I turned and it got right in my ears. Like, it was like horror movie stuff. I ran.
That's all we have on YouTube. I saw there's some on Facebook.
Okay.
Tia asks, so where do you get your equipment at? That's a whole different show.
I get it from Amazon. You can go to music stores to get it. You can probably the easiest place to go to is a Guitar Center or some type of music store where they sell recording equipment. Okay. The easiest thing to do is just to go on Amazon, or sometimes you can find really good equipment on eBay. But it's not really where you get it, is what you get in the condition that it's in. So check out Amazon. You can look at the gear we use. That's what I would recommend. And then if you want a link to it, if you can't find it on Amazon or can't find it at a music store or some type of retailer, I can help you out. But we pretty much get everything from Amazon. 99% of everything we get is from Amazon.
And then Johnny Grisby asked, do you guys use REM pods? He's kind of iffy about them because they're touchy and sensitive.
Yeah, they are prone to false positives. There's a lot of things that set them off. We have used them in the past, but sparingly now. We have so much equipment that sets it off. We sparingly use them now. But we still do mess around with them here and there.
I agree with Bill on this one. He said the fuzzy mic should be pink.
To each their own.
Tia asked, is it true that your group is going back to Higginsport this year?
No. No one is illegally or that I know of is allowed to investigate Higginsport School. No one knows but I don't know anything about it. I know people that live near Higginsport School, like they can drive right down the road and go to it, and they're constantly checking on it. And the only people that can get in there now is if you trespass. I don't know who would tell you that I was going back to Higginsport.
And that's all I have for right now.
John wanted to... He said bring that to Gettysburg so he can check it out.
Bring...
Your mic. I'm assuming your mic set up.
John? Oh.
John, cool. He said that he should be going there.
Derek will have it out. I usually have people. That's something we definitely showcase, and something that John can easily build. I think what I would suggest that we haven't got yet is a MagCheck 95. And here real quick, John, I'll pop it up, see if I can. you might be able. Whoops.
I told everybody in YouTube if they were going to Gettysburg, they need a T-shirt with their profile picture, so I know who they are.
Okay, John, if you this is what I would recommend, buddy. If you go to www.magneticsciences.com/MC95, I'll go ahead and link it. He's on YouTube, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go ahead and link it here in YouTube for you. And it's $150. It's only, you can only get this one place, but it's got a BNC female connector here. And this is what you want. You want to get the adapter so you can hook it up to XLR into your PCM recorder. And this is going to be a industrial calibrated EMF sensor. And this is what you need. If you're going to build a Mark III, RVPR Mark III, this is what you want right there.
Candace asked, which I know the answer to, but I'll let you answer. Do you ever go back to old school reel-to-reel recorders, film cameras, etc.?
No. The reason we don't is because in the digital era, we put everything on our computers to analyze, and we put everything into video format eventually. So there's no, I mean, we could do that, but there's no way. We would have to analyze it with headphones on the device itself. And there's certain things that I look at. We put them through spectral analyzers, and I don't have spectral analyzing equipment for analog recorders.
And Gooseby wants to know, do we broadcast with OBS?
Yeah, this show is broadcasted with OBS. Sometimes we use it on live investigations. Very seldom we do, but we use Camerify Live for our in the field work.
I have like 5 new viewers that this is the first time they've watched, and they just came across it on Facebook. So
yeah, I shared it on my timeline. That might be where they got it, or Derek may have shared it. So thank you very much for joining in with us. Our topic tonight is residential hauntings versus historical, but people ask me questions all the time, and they rarely pertain to the topic, which is fine. But that's what we are initially discussing. So for you new viewers, have anything to add, based on your opinion, what the difference would be with a residual haunt and a historical haunt? I would love to hear that. Are we all clear on the comments?
I am on YouTube.
I am on Facebook.
John said that he's familiar. He just can't afford it. He runs a modified version.
Yeah, it's high. Our goal is to get an oscilloscope and use that with conjunction with the MagCheck 95 and the RVPR. That will happen soon. Derek is going to get around to that.
He's working on it now.
I know.
Along with the truck and everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in all due time. And Derek's middle name is in all due time. If Josh wasn't so busy,
no idea.
If Josh was, I do have an idea. If Josh wasn't busy building lights all the time, he might do things too. But I mean, if that man's not fixing turbines, he's building dead lights.
And if Derek isn't running flavoring for Monster, he's doing something or other for somebody.
Interface death,
deadlight.
Busy men.
That's right. We're in it to win it. I mean, we've spent thousands of dollars, and if you could spend millions of dollars on this crap and still probably not get any closer. It might be a little bit more fun, but if you had any idea how hard it is to do just what we do with the 5 people that we have, you wouldn't do it.
Johnny Grisby wants to know, what's the most active place you've ever been to?
The house I used to live in.
If you've watched before, you've heard the story.
He's asked that question before.
Yeah.
He has downs.
Chris Sanders was watching.
He was watching?
He is watching, yeah. He just I don't even know what that is because I can't see it. But
He's trolling our live stream.
he is.
Yeah, but if you wanted to shout it out, you could have just said hi. You got low key shouted out. Just so yeah, historical locations are important.
Josh Bender said I might relax if I had time.
He might.
And then Derek said, you know damn well if we had time, we wouldn't relax.
Speak for yourself, dude. I remember when Josh Bender's profile picture was him in a hammock.
I took that picture.
Those days are gone.
2 years ago, he said he wanted a hammock, and so I bought him one for him for his birthday. Guess how many times he's stayed in it?
That time you took the picture?
That time and that time only. Mm-hmm. I must have had it up maybe once or twice after that, but that's it. So it just sits there. He has all intentions of relaxing, but it doesn't work out.
His form of relaxation now is pumping iron. He's like, I'm going to go to the gym and relax.
No, we were just talking a little something earlier that we just need to go, my few of my friends get together, go to a place, have a few drinks, eat a couple more drinks, maybe eat again. And he actually agreed. He says, yes, that would be nice. I was like, what?
Yeah, you have to do it when you feel like you're about to burn out. You got to, right?
Yes.
And outside of Derek and Josh's jobs, they do a lot of stuff with Deadlight and Interface Death. It's nonstop. I mean, it slows a little bit down for them in the winter. Every once in a while, I'll have them do pickups, interviews, and stuff like that. But any other time, no. But we try to have fun when we're out and doing stuff. There's little moments that we try to. We'll go out to eat. We might jump in a pool here and there at a hotel or something. Here and there.
I want to stab you in the face.
Friday night, we are going to relax.
No, we got interviews to shoot.
Yes, but that'll take
interviews for what?
Roads and
we got 2 episodes that need interviews for.
Okay. And we have to film more of the intro because he didn't get enough film.
Yeah, the promo.
There's
promo stuff that we need. So we'll be working on that Friday and doing some of it Saturday too. I would have loved to have the promo out for season 6 already, but I just need more stuff.
Enough.
More 4K stuff. Since we've got to 4K, I don't want to mix 1080 and 4K footage together. I'm too anal for that. Yeah, I agree, Derek, or not Derek, Daniel. It is more rewarding than going to like an old jail or a hospital. Any chance you get to try to provide assistance to people that are dealing with something insane or weird, difficult to talk about or deal with or understand, it's good. It feels good.
Joe says Deadlight is going to make its presence known at the CryptoCon in Alabama in October.
How is that?
I'm assuming he's going. He's probably taken his light. I don't know.
Do we have to send him a banner and stuff too?
I was actually just going to say, hey, Joe, if you send me your address, I'll send you some business cards.
Yeah, he needs business cards. He needs a banner.
What? No.
He needs a fake beard.
He needs a sticker. He needs a decal.
Yeah.
Derek, get on that.
Put it on your car.
No, but I can send you some business cards, Joe, if you want to, if anybody asks about the light, if you want to pass it out. I think Josh is vacuuming in there, so he's probably not hearing this of me giving his stuff away.
He's shot back in the
We need
Deadlight.
a Josh cam. We need to put a camera in his shop so we can watch him slave away at Deadlights while we're doing the show.
Oh. That might be entertaining, but it might be...
You would have to censor that.
No, not really when he's by himself. He's good. He's good.
Yeah, unless he messes up. And
Yeah, then you might see,
He's in
the
there
Hulk.
beating Emma and his dog. He's beating his dog with Emma.
No, that dog would tear somebody up if somebody did something like to it to him.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, Johnny asked, he said, I don't mean your home, Justin. I mean, like, one of the locations we went to in 2018 or 2019. What is the most active location you've been to?
Most active. I want to say that we got a lot of stuff from the I don't know.
Derek said the Sanford Center.
I mean, there was one really good from the Sanford Center. I mean, that was a really good one. But most active?
Stanford Center. That's when Josh and I left early, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we that might be. And the reason the Sanford Center might be because it's in Moundsville. Moundsville is on an alleged ley line. When you search ley lines, there's different ones that depending on who you're asking where the ley lines are. But the one that's in Moundsville goes straight up north and south. It goes through what mound is that called? I keep on forgetting the name of it. Grave Creek Mound. It's a huge mound. You go straight north and then you hit the Bel Air house. And then I remember Kristen Lee telling me that their house was on a ley line. And according to one of the ley line charts that I've seen, she is right about that. That might be why West Virginia Penitentiary, the Archive of the Afterlife, and all those locations over there are really active because it's on the ley line. I'm not completely sold on the ley line theory, but I'm not going to close off the idea either.
Josh said it was RCI for him.
Yeah, I was going to say RCI. And the reason I say RCI is because that was legitimately weird a few times.
Right.
It's very active. But it's subjective and circumstantial which place is active. So I want to say RCI was a good one. I want to say that in years back before the people you see on the team now, Moonville Tunnel in Vinton County is super active. It's also on a ley line. There's a ley line that goes through Athens and up through Vinton County. And goes down into Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and goes south and north from there.
I wouldn't know. I never got to investigate Moonville Tunnel.
Hopefully we will again. Any other questions before we wrap it up?
I do want to shout out Craig Williams. He said, I guess nobody was seeing his comments. I didn't see any of his comments, but hello, Craig.
Tia asked, have we ever been to Bardstown, Kentucky?
No, we had talked about going. At the beginning of this year, it was on the list, but it didn't make the cut. There's a lot of different factors that we play around with that determines where we go investigate, and a lot of it has to do with what we can shoot, film, turn into an episode or a documentary or something, because that's mainly what we try to do is produce video content for people to see, not only shows like this, but educational content, tutorials, documentaries, and a season that kind of gives you a experience of what we went through during these investigations. So that's what we like to do. I've definitely heard about it, though. Anything else?
No. I think Josh just walked into the room with Jess, so she's talking, but no, I don't have anything else.
All right. Well, thanks, girls. You've done a great job, and I don't see anybody else commenting on YouTube, so we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I mean, I say this every time, but I mean it every time. Your interaction and engagement is very crucial for the show. Your support is too. Either if it's just from watching or just liking it or sharing it, that's great. But we want you to be a part of this community, and we want, you know, to make you a part of it. The best way to do that is through Patreon right now, especially by voting on the topics that we talk about on this particular show. The Necromancer show will come back in the summer when I'm able to. There's a lot of stuff going on, you know, in our neck of the woods, so we're trying trying our best. We have an investigation this weekend again. I mean, it's like nonstop all the way through the summer, all the way into fall, into October. We're trying to book something in October now. After this show is over, we're going to talk about that. So I'm going to put up a live event for a live portion at the old Licking County Jail in Newark, Ohio. If you want to see us in action live on an investigation, tune in on the Interface Death YouTube channel. I will have the live event up on there, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell so you get notifications through your YouTube app, and you'll get to see that, plus see everything else that we do. Thanks for joining us, guys. We're going to go over to this screen so everybody on both platforms knows what's going on. Our website is the main hub of everything we can do. Please check us out at interfacedeath.net or .com. If you're watching on YouTube, you can check out my blog page on Facebook at Justin Brown Paranormal Research. You can check us out at Interface Death on Facebook too. You can check out Interface Death on Twitter and Instagram. We constantly upload photos and give updates on Twitter to let you guys know what's going on. Patreon.com/support Interface Death is how you can keep this stuff growing and keep going. Okay, guys, we'll talk about how that's important in a second. If you're watching on Facebook, you can subscribe and watch live on YouTube as well. The link is in the description. People like Clay Borman. I mean, this guy is a huge contributor. RJ Murphy, huge contributor. Scotty Fox, longtime contributor. Casey Schreiner pulls out the big bucks every month. Jessica Bias, paranormal reporter. Joe Vitale, Heather Elliott, General Rogue, Cherry Capital Shadow Seekers, the Ghost Guild, Kelly McConkey, and Tony Filosi all support us. You get rewarded for whatever tier, whatever amount you pledge each month. You are listed as producers in our video content and our documentaries, our films. You are shouted out on live stream. You are very much a part of what we do. And you provide all this stuff free for everybody else. So thank you very much for doing that. If you are interested in being a Patreon, check out the link. I'm going to leave it there, guys. You have a very good night. Like I said, we're going to be investigating this weekend. We're going live. We'll be giving updates. Please follow us on social media. Subscribe to the mailing list on our website. If you're new to the show, we have some promos of season 5, a couple of episodes of season 5. We got a dead late promo for you guys to watch. Stick around and watch that. I love you guys. You're in my heart. We'll see you next time. Do you have that drive? That morbid curiosity to explore the darkness? Do you have what it takes to brave the night? You do? Good. Dead light. For those who aren't afraid to see what lurks
It's downstairs.
Are you down there? Not afraid. We know what it feels like to walk in the darkness.
Are you in this room over here? What the fuck, dude?
Whoa.
That's weird.
You didn't do anything, right?
No, it just turned.
Justin too close.
No,
No, he opened that door and it went off.
Yep, exactly.
Did you just run out of there?